What is going on with all of my beautiful people of the planet? I am Silence, and welcome to Raising Vibrations Through Recovery. I had to think about that one for a second. I am the host of this particular platform and other platforms as well. And I go by Silence, or I am Silence. Shout out and happy Friday to each and every last one of my addicts and or the non whom are still suffering in silence. Again, it doesn't have to be from addiction or alcoholism. The point is you're in silence and you're suffering. Allow me to give you all a spiritual hug, and it will be okay. You will make it through. Any amount of your guys' positive energy shown on all platforms created by me are always welcomed. With that being said, let's listen to the sounds of nature. And at this particular moment, it's sprinkling raining, so you may hear raindrops. And that's actually happening here in the Arizona area. As I sit in my car at the park, just relaxing and creating this episode. So 1 second, you guys, let's listen to some sounds of nature, and then I'll get into this particular episode. All right, you guys. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to plug in my microphone. Can you guys hear the drops of rain hitting the roof of my vehicle? .2:44 time of this recording. I not being rude, Arizona. There's been a lot of discoveries on my part, good and bad, since residing here. But it is so damn hot, 2:55 time of this recording. People are walking around smelling like deceased coochie and dick and lopsided floppy breasts and some of everything else. And just imagine my addicts out there that's sweating chemicals and some of everything else that just smell like death. It's too hot for that out here. Anyway, happy Friday to each and every last one of you guys. It's a better day for me than it was yesterday. And I want to speak about that because I forgot to mention something in the episode that I uploaded in regard to the Goodwill situation. The 333, the Ascended Masters, are with me and they're with you guys. They're approving this episode, and they're approving a lot of different things, especially that test that I passed yesterday that I almost failed. I was going to mention something in regard to the music that was included in that episode yesterday, the Goodwill episode. A song by an artist named Mo, M-O-E, if I'm not mistaken, and the song is called When I Pray. Well, I noticed on my YouTube platform that it has been partially blocked because of copyright issues. So that child said, look, bitch, you gonna pray about this being partially blocked because it won't be going too far considering the copyright concerns or issues or whatever. But either way it goes, I have no copyrights to any of the music that I upload on any of my episodes. It's for spirituality and entertainment purposes only. All rights are reserved to the artists that created it, and let that be the reason. Anyway, you guys, I've been off work since 8 o'clock and took care of a couple of things before coming to the park to create this episode. Once again, tomorrow, 8 o'clock in the morning, I have another 12-hour shift to complete. So I'm not going to be here too long. And from the looks of it, this particular park that I'm at will be shutting down pretty soon. So I'm going to wrap this up here momentarily. Anyway, I want to send a shout out to all of you guys for supporting the changes in regard to my temples. You know, I'm taking inventory in regard to my life, my platforms, and just a lot of different things. And this is what I mean by tearing down old temples for a new. And it's being accepted quite well by you guys, and I really do appreciate. Is this Satan trying to work me? There's a scallywag walking right in front of my vehicle. And hopefully they keep going because I'm not in the mood. Anyway, it's being accepted not only here on Podbean, but other platforms as well in regard to the old temples being torn down for a new. And I really do appreciate you guys downloading the episodes and supporting these episodes by sharing them. You guys don't engage with me, which I'm not going to say pisses me off because, you know, it's not that serious, but feel free to engage and comment and you know, well, Podbean has done a lot of changes on their platform. So if you want to further engage with me, I guess in real time, so to speak, feel free to join me on Instagram, which is Recovery with the Invisible. YouTube, which is pretty much the same name. Silence, just look for Silence, Recovery with the Invisible on those platforms. I would give you my information in regard to the other platform where I get paid for interviews, which is Podmatch. I'm not going to keep it a secret anymore. It's called Podmatch. And I have it all set up. I just haven't done any interviews with anyone as of yet. But anyway, just, you know, the main platforms that you all can reach out to me is Facebook and YouTube. It was Instagram until I got rid of their asses, and TikTok. I got rid of that shit too. I'm probably going to merge into Riverside because on Riverside, which was introduced to me by the CEO, if I'm not mistaken, of Podmatch, he told me, which is Alex Sanfilippo. Oh, I'm sorry, Alex, if I butchered your name. Hopefully it's Alex, but I do believe it's Alex Sanfilippo. Anyway, he told me about Riverside and not throwing shade at Podmatch. You know, Podmatch is where it all started in regard to, you know, my podcasting journey. But Riverside has a lot of features and options and editorial supplies for and live streaming. So if you guys want to continue on live streaming and things of that nature, check out the platform Riverside. Of course, you have to pay monthly. You know, there's different prices that we can all choose from. But not saying it's a better platform than Podbean. Is if you want choices, and if you want to continue live streaming, and if you just want options, Riverside, I guess, is where it's at, you know. And Alex Sanfilippo, why would he lie about it? You know, he's the CEO or owner of Podmatch, so he would know what other platforms out there are legit and worth spending the money. Not saying that it's not worth spending the money here on Podbean, but if you're going to spend the money on a platform because you're seriously wanting to be a professional in this podcasting game, why not spend the money on Riverside and let that be the reason? So I'm pretty sure that I will be spending investing in Riverside and going from there, because I enjoy live streaming, and, you know, those of us that have a story to tell, why not end it here, continue it elsewhere? I'm going to keep Podbean, I'm going to keep all of my platforms. Riverside will probably be the last platform that I invest in, because I don't want to spend all of my time on social media and podcasting and things of that particular nature, even though I'm getting good praise in regard to my platforms. I'm gaining followers here and there, and the word is getting out in regard to this person called Silence. But it takes away the distractions of it all, takes away from me building a even firmer relationship with God and the invisible above, not so below. But anyway, you guys, it is definitely a nice night here in Arizona, and I want to send a shout out to a special state that I will be moving to after my journey here in Arizona has ended, which will pretty much be around September, the month before my birthday. So me moving further into the wilderness of silence in this particular state. And I don't want to say too much, but Timbaland said it best. Timbaland. I'm the man from the big, and I'll leave it as that. There's another celebrity that grew up in a small town of this particular state as well. Anyway, you guys are showing me love, and pretty soon I will be there. Yeah, thank you guys very much in this particular state. Just watching videos on YouTube alone in regard to this state, the greenery of it all, and just the fact that where I'm going to be residing, houses and well, I'm not trying to get no apartment or anything like that, but the houses and stuff like that they're spread apart. So I will be able to really relax my central nervous system and free it from, survival mode. I'll be able to play my tamarines and not disturb anyone, like living in the apartment complex that I'm in right now. I'm just over it, and I just can't wait to move so that I can just start this new chapter in my life and, just go from there. But anyway, this particular state, thank you guys for showing me love in regard to downloading, listening, and passing the message in regard to silence. Raising vibrations through recovery. I appreciate you guys. Now, I forgot to mention something in the Goodwill episode that I uploaded yesterday. And what I forgot to mention is the fact, look, Satan walking behind my car. Hold on one second. I have to keep my eyes. Hold on. I'm sorry, you guys. I just have to stay focused because, I am in a park and it's pretty dark because they pretty much shut the lights off or whatever. And I have to keep my eyes peeled on what's going on around me. Anyway, as I was saying, I forgot to mention something in regard to the Goodwill episode that I uploaded for you guys yesterday. And what I forgot to mention is the fact that when I went to cash out at the Goodwill, where the scallywag was being, how can I say it, where Satan was working through the scallywag in order to gain my attention or whatever, kind of like what he's doing right now. The cashier recognized my bracelet. And remember, I told you I received a bracelet from a preacher that was standing outside of Cass homeless shelter here when I was residing at Cass. And I got a bracelet, a free bracelet that says Psalms 91. Hold on one second. I want to make sure it's right. Hold on. Yes, Psalms 91, one day at a time. Hold on, let me see where this person went. Okay, hopefully they're the fuck away from me. All right, anyway, so I received this free bracelet from the preacher that was outside of Cass Homeless Shelter, and it says Psalms 91, one day at a time. Anyway, I believe that this particular bracelet, or that verse in general, is a indicator that a person is in recovery. And remember, I told you guys I went to PetSmart to get my birds some food and toys and stuff, and there was a person in recovery that noticed my bracelet as well, and we had a conversation. And anyway, it was no different than what happened at Goodwill. I'm paying for my items, and obviously they were checking out my wrist and looking at my bracelets or whatever, and they noticed this one, and they asked me, am I a fan of Bill as well? And it didn't dawn on me. I'm like, who the fuck is Bill? And then I started thinking about it. Oh, Dr. Bill, who wrote the big book, or who helped write the big book in regard to Alcoholics Anonymous. And so I'm not going to say I'm not a fan of Dr. Bill. You know, he did a great thing in regard to the big book and helping alcoholics and individuals that aren't alcoholics, you know, people that are into hardcore drugs or whatever. He's helping us all. I'm like, yeah. As a matter of fact, I am. So they went on to tell me that, you know, they just got done with the meeting before, you know, coming to work at Goodwill and things of that nature. And it just sparked a very good conversation. But what I noticed with this individual is that they were whispering to me in regard to sobriety, addiction, recovery, et cetera, et cetera. And I didn't want to whisper about anything. It's just like this whole anonymous thing. You know, I'm not saying that I'm proud to be an addict. No one should ever be proud to be an addict. But I mean, we all have a story to tell. And if we're in recovery and doing good for ourselves, I mean, what's the secret? You know, it's just like, let's talk about it. Let's be open about it. Let's be free about it. I mean, to whisper and all of that type of shit is basically to keep ourselves in bondage. And it's not living free. I have no secrets in regard to what I'm going through with addiction and recovery. You know, is you know, obviously because I'm on podcasts and social media and other different ways, sharing my story and magazines and all of that stuff. So it's just like, you know, I don't want to be a secret in regard to my life with addiction. I want to be that voice of recovery, and I am that voice of recovery, and I want to speak out loud. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to whisper about anything. And what is meant to be anonymous is damn sure not anonymous anymore. Anyway, that person also came through when I nearly relapsed. They didn't come outside and stop me or anything like that, but just having that conversation with them while standing in the line paying for my items, and just them recognizing this bracelet alone on my wrist, and noticing that it's a part of not only my recovery journey, but a lot of individuals' recovery journey that own this particular bracelet or something similar to it. It's a beautiful thing to be recognized by your people, so to speak, or your tribe. And the fact that, you know, they're doing good in their own walk with recovery. And I definitely didn't want to keep it a secret, considering the scallywag was standing behind me. He needed to hear the fact that, you know, we're doing good for ourselves. You need to get your ass in recovery. Just keep it that way. So but anyway, I'm on Facebook, and I am reading some stuff. I think it's the 91st anniversary of the big book, and even the person at Goodwill, the one that discovered my bracelet, and we had the conversation, the cashier, they were telling me about the anniversary of the big book and how there was like a huge celebration, and people were touring Dr. Bill's, or I believe it's Bill's, Dr. Bill's home and stuff like that, and clubs were shut down, and some of everything, because it's a huge deal, this big book, and how it saved and is still continuing to save so many people in regard to this life of addiction and recovery. And I witnessed exactly what they were saying on Facebook. There's all type of postings in regard to like the 91st anniversary, if I'm not mistaken, in regard to the big book, blah blah blah. But then I started reading some different comments in regard to how a simple message from Dr. Bill and Bob in regard to Alcoholics Anonymous, how it's just commercialized, so to speak, and it's not the same message as it was years ago when the big book first came out. Now there's social media involved with it. Now there's technology involved with it. The message has been changed over the years, and it kind of reminds me of my time working at Goodwill. Not trying to compare the big book to Goodwill, but I'm comparing the message, so to speak. When I started Goodwill, we had to learn about the individual that created the store and the message behind it. And over the years, that message has been tarnished, just like the message from the big book has been tarnished. People are stealing from Goodwill, and I took it very personally, you know what I'm saying, because I was working there, and to be treated like a guinea pig by individuals, especially addicts, that thought that they were being glib. I remember a woman came in the store with one coat on, had nothing to do with a fur coat or a faux coat. This child took that damn coat off, put that faux coat on, and was about to walk out the store. And I've confronted them about it. And the thing of it is, we don't want to lose our lives or whatever confronting addicts and people that think that they're being glib in regard to coming into the Goodwill store or any thrift store that has a message behind it and doing wrong. And, I can see where people were complaining about Alcoholics Anonymous being or supposed to be strictly for individuals with alcohol issues, now have converted into individuals coming in there talking about severe narcotic issues and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, the door should be open to all of us, but I'm not Dr. Bill or Bob who created the big book or whatever. But there's a lot of things that even the individual that rode with me to the last meeting that I went to, we see through the surface layers of these meetings into the depth of it all. And I see how Dr. Bob's message or Dr. Bill's message, both of their messages, have been tarnished over the years. I was that newcomer going into these meetings for help. Hopefully I have enough time to, the park is going to close here momentarily. So, anyway, I'm going to talk as much as I can. Anyway, I was that newcomer going into these 12-step meetings, and I don't understand why some of these meetings allow people to vape inside of the meeting. I'm looking at this and looking at the clouds produced from vaping, and it made me want to relapse. You know what I'm saying? Because all I can think about is blowing methamphetamine clouds and shit like that. And why the fuck is this in these meetings? Cell phones all through the meetings. Not everyone is created equal, or not every yoke is created equal, so to speak, in this world. And with the various different cell phones that be out, for one, is taking from the meeting. For two, people could freshly relapse and be literally in tears telling their story, and you got people on their cell phones probably strolling for that next piece of dick and that next hit after the meeting. I mean, it's just disrespectful. Why are cell phones a part of something that is supposed to be quote unquote anonymous in the first motherfucking place? I don't understand that. It's just a lot of things that that don't sit well with me. A God of your understanding? What the fuck do you mean, a God of your understanding? There's only one God to understand, and that's the one living God that has a son by the name of Jesus Christ. And just like myself and the person was talking about that that rode with me to the meeting, a God of one's understanding could be that alcohol that they were drinking, or that methamphetamine that they were hitting, or that crack that they were smoking, or that piece of dick that they just got done sucking, or that coochie that they just got done playing with. That's a God of one's understanding. And I don't think that it should be that open for individuals to choose a God of their understanding when there's only one God to understand. But I somewhat get it. This is hold on, let me start my car because it seems like people are leaving the park and they're about to shut it down. Anyway, there should be only one God to understand, and for these meetings to leave it open where people can pick and choose. I mean, shit, a God of one's understanding could be Satan. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't believe in God. They're atheists going to these meetings, and a God of their understanding. Yeah. So hold on 1 second. My apologies, you guys. But anyway, that could very well be, I just have issues with it. And this is one reason why I stopped going to these 12-step meetings. Once again, they're helping a lot of individuals, and I'm glad that they are helping these individuals that truly, truly need the message and need their help. And I'm not saying that I'm better than anyone else, but I looked into sponsors, but I don't fuck with sponsors like that, because some of the meetings that I've gone to, a great majority of the people that are supposed to have been sponsoring individuals, they're relapsing them damn selves. Some of them done died from overdose and some of everything else. And I've had plenty of people in my life come and go. And even with therapists, when I was living in Vegas, you know, I had a good therapist that I absolutely love, Ashia Abiadun, I think that's her name. And I went for a session, and before I knew it, they had transferred her to a different facility, and that crushed me, because I started building a very, I guess the word is formal, relationship with her, and to go to a session and her not be there, and all of a sudden I had to start a new relationship and tell my business to someone else. But there's a lot of, I don't want to say cultish or cult-like things in regard to these meetings that I'm starting to see, or God is starting to shed light on. But there's too much going on in these meetings that I don't care for. The 13th tradition. A lot of individuals may not know about this 13th tradition, but from my understanding, the 13th tradition is where old timers or people that have a certain amount of sobriety, I guess, try to build relationships, sexual relationship. I mean, the thing of it is, you're going there for help in regard to staying away from drugs and alcohol. Why the fuck are you hooking up with individuals? So I guess the 13th tradition is where the old timers of these meetings hook up with newcomers, and it just takes away from the whole sobriety aspect of it all. So I can understand some of the comments that I read on Facebook in regard to the messages, or the message of Alcoholic Anonymous or the Big Book being converted into something I'm trying to put the right words. It's just being converted into something fucked up. And people are just running with it and taking advantage of it. I also noticed that I don't too much care about going to gay meetings. I mean, the gay meetings that I've gone to are so childish. You know what I'm saying? They take it seriously, but there's just too much joking around in regard to gay meetings. And I find more value when I go to straight meetings, you know, or straight organizations geared towards 12-step. I get more value in those than what the fuck I do in these gay meetings. But I just see through it all. And I think a lot of people whom attend these meetings see, like, for instance, one of the 12-step meetings that is primarily straight. I noticed one individual, they were very standoffish. They didn't hold hands at the end of the meeting. They didn't say the prayer. They didn't do any of that. They rarely spoke in these meetings. And I do believe that they were there because they were court ordered to be there. Aside from that, they didn't participate in it. And my energy was telling me that they're on board with me. They just see through. I'm sorry, you guys, if y'all hear that noise. I'm driving to the other park near my apartment or this place that I'm renting. But anyway, my energies were telling me that this person is on board with me. They see through the surface layer of these meetings into the depth of it all. And one meeting I went to, the same meeting that I told you about the person being standoffish, there was an individual. I got to this meeting late, and obviously there were a couple of people that had relapsed and they were telling their story. Anyway, this person, cute person, cute individual, somebody that I would have preyed upon anyway. But they were saying how at any point in time they could have a whole motherfucking ounce delivered to this organization, and let that be the reason. By them saying that let me know alone that this is happening. People are ordering from their dealers methamphetamine or other drugs and having them delivered into these organizations that are meant to keep people from relapsing. I feel bad for the individuals that are in these programs or systematic programs that truly are trying to do better for themselves. And to be under that much temptation where people are dipping off, smoking weed pens. I told y'all the same organization where the individual was being standoffish, et cetera, I seen staff and members of this particular 12-step meeting dipping off to the side, smoking weed pens. My thing is, y'all smoke vapes and all this shit in the meetings. So why would you dip off to smoke a vape when that's allowed in the meetings? You dipped off and smoked a motherfucking weed pen. And weed smoke from a pen is totally different from vape smoke. It's a different cloud. You're not going to get that much motherfucking smoke smoking a vape pen versus a weed pen. So I already knew that these individuals were dipping off, doing the most. And why is this happening? Why is this allowed? This is supposed to be a 12-step meeting that is geared towards helping individuals. So why is this type of activity going on? The biggest thing is, why the fuck are people vaping in these sessions when newcomers are there, freshly relapsed, seeing this shit, and it's nothing more than temptation. It doesn't sit well with me, and I rarely go to any 12-step meetings. My 12-step comes from God, not a God of my understanding, the one and only living God that has a son by the name of Jesus Christ. That's where my 12-step comes from. My my sponsor is God and Jesus and the invisible above and not below. Those are my sponsors. Come to the meetings. It works if you work it. Everybody needs a sponsor. No, the fuck everybody don't, because obviously people are still relapsing and they still have sponsors, and they have sponsors, and what does that tell you? Obviously having a sponsor isn't working for everyone. It's almost like saying everyone needs to stick their head up a ghost ass because it works for everybody. Not everybody wants to smell ghost shit, more or less have their head in child. Look, just picture a goat with their tail sticking straight up, booty hole posting. It just smell like game, okay? Booty hole just smell like fresh game. I don't think everyone wants to go that far, okay? So to say everyone needs a sponsor, no, the fuck we don't, because it doesn't work for everyone. That's another thing that I just don't too much care in regard to these 12-step meetings. And I see why I felt like it was a big cult in the beginning. And I see why a lot of other people or comments that I read in regard to people that feel the same way. It's very cultish how it has now been converted into. I'm pretty sure years ago when these organizations first formed, it wasn't anything like it is now. It's to the point now where man has really put its hands on something that's supposed to be sacred in the form of helping individuals stay sober. And it's just so commercialized nowadays to the point where I don't want anything to do with it, because the message has been buried deep amongst a bunch of sin. I'm just going to keep it real with you. A lot of these meetings are built upon sin. There's a lot of gay activity going on in these meetings, transsexuals and all of that type of shit. I mean, come on now. You know, people are fucking and sucking and doing the most after taking. I see through it all. I feel through it all. I smell it. And energy doesn't lie. Energy does not lie. And especially in these straight meetings, where it's predominantly nothing but men, and all of a sudden you got some transsexual or whatever the case may be wearing women's clothing and stuff like that. It's a form of enticement, and you get these individuals that are freshly relapsed on methamphetamine. Of course, they're looking at sex and whatever else the case may be. I see through it all, and I'm not saying that people should elude these meetings, especially those of you that need it the most. If you have to go, just like me, for the past couple of days, I've submerged myself in these meetings because I needed it. I nearly fucking relapsed because of fleshly temptation. So I felt the need to insert myself in some of these meetings and to get my damn coins, but to insert myself in some of these meetings because I needed that fellowship and I needed that bonding to get me through. But aside from that, I don't depend on these meetings, because if I can't rely on God and Jesus to get me through and be my sponsors and be my 12-step meetings, then what do I have? So I have to put my faith and trust and rely on the one and only God, not a God of my choice, the one and only God, to get me through. And if he feels that I need further help in regard to man and these meetings, then he will guide me to it, just like he did when I, nearly relapsed yesterday and any other time that, I fell victim to circumstances. And, I'm grateful for Dr. Bill and Dr. Bob. And then another thing that I was researching, I'm not sure if it was Bill or Bob, but they participated in the PCP experiment, if I'm not mistaken, back in the days. I don't want to lie about anything, but they participated in that. Just a lot of things that don't sit well with me. And like I said, I started reading the big book, but I don't want to call it shit, but it just didn't do anything for me. The big book is the Bible. That's the big book. And that's the big book that I've been reading. The Ethiopian Bible and the New Testament. I haven't read the Old Testament. Well, I read the Old Testament a while back, not all of it, but I mean, the only big book that I need is the big book that comes from the Bible, and let that be the reason. Hold on one second. I made it to this other part. Let me turn my car off. Oh, I'm going to turn my car. Why am I asking y'all permission? Anyway, that's the only big book that I need in my life to keep me going. I can rely on the big book, but the 38 time of this recording, but I don't know. And feel free to comment, you guys. I'm going to create a YouTube and Facebook video in regard to this as well. Feel free to comment, because I know that I'm going to irritate some people that are fully conditioned by these 12-step meetings. Y'all are going to be offended by what I'm saying, and quite frankly, I don't give a fuck. These are my feelings, and I am, how can I say it? I'm entitled to them, and no one has to validate them. But I just see through it all, and I'm not the only person. Hold on. Oh! I'm sorry, you guys. The sprinklers are watering the grass here in the park, and I parked in a parking spot where the sprinkler. I have my windows down, so a little bit of the water from the sprinklers pretty much got inside. That's where I got it. Yeah. Anyway, but I know that even if I am the only one that sees it, which I know that I'm not, there are more than a handful of individuals that see through these meetings. And like I said, it probably was not like this years ago when the message to the big book and AA was not corrupted. Now it is beyond corrupted because man has further put its hands on it. Satan corrupted it with sex and some of everything else. We're not supposed to glorify sex in our stories in these meetings. Child, please. People be talking about sucking dick and some of everything else when they tell their stories. It's a part of their story, but I know you're not supposed to glorify. I just see through it. And the biggest thing that just disturbs me is the fact that individuals in these meetings are able to rely on a God of their understanding, and that pushes the one and only God to the side for people to pick and choose which God they want to worship, idolize, that has gotten them through this addiction thing. And that don't sit well with me, because those prayers and things of that particular nature, I don't even say the prayers. I just bow my head at times and I keep my mouth shut, because God wants me to keep my mouth shut. And the reason why he wants me to stay in silence is because obviously these prayers that include him is not about him. I hate to say it like that, but I'm saying it. It's not about him. It's about whatever God that will get individuals in these damn meetings or whatever. And yeah, it's just, yeah. I don't like it, and this is why I stay away from it. And obviously reading these Facebook comments, a lot of other people have similar feelings in regard to what I am feeling. But congratulations to Dr. Bill and Bob for the 91st anniversary, if I'm not mistaken, centered around. Sorry, you guys. Y'all heard the motorcycle. Anyway, congratulations to Dr. Bill and Bob, the creators of the big book, Alcoholics Anonymous. Congratulations to them for creating the book, and congratulations to them for not only helping individuals of alcoholism, but people of narcotic issues and some of everything else, sex addiction, cocaine anonymous. There are so many different quote unquote anonymous groups. And another thing that I found interesting, the biggest anonymous group came from the Bible, and that is the group that Jesus led. Period. Those were the biggest secret societies out there. It's funny how people want to remove God from situations, people, places, and things, but they want to take from the Bible and flip it and incorporate God when it's useful for them. And God is showing me that he is incorporated in these meetings as a pawn to get people in there. If you really wanted God to be a part of these meetings, you would not say a God of your understanding. You would say the one, and I don't give a fuck who it pisses off and who eludes going to the meeting, because the truth has been told. There's only one God, one living God, and that's it. There is no God of your understanding. Why would you say that in order to get people in these meetings? I mean, yeah. It is what it is. And nowadays people, even churches, certain churches, I mean, they know what they're doing in regard to taking portions of the Bible, flipping it so it could benefit their establishments or whatever. 12-step meetings are nothing but a systematic organization that keeps people in bondage. I hate to say it. It keeps people in bondage. People are freshly leaving systems in regard to jail, prisons, and things like that 44 time of this recording, only to enter into another system in regards to these 12-step meetings and stuff like that. The ones that have to live in these 12-step meetings, they're only being their head count for the government. And all. I see it because God is allowing me to see it. Y'all are nothing but a head count. I see individuals that coordinate these 12-step meetings. They're counting how many people are in the meetings and writing down whatever they're writing down. Why is that so important? I mean, the whole, I mean, why keep count on the people that are going to the meeting? The whole point is they're here and they're here for the help. That's if they can get the motherfucking help, considering all the other bullshit that goes on that takes away from the message of the meeting. People smoking vape. I mean, I mentioned it earlier. There's no need for me to continue mentioning it. Those of us or y'all that continue going. I mean, like one meeting I went to, this dude was literally in tears, a primarily straight meeting. I'm not going to say threatening people, but, they were in tears talking about just so conditioned. Yeah, if anybody takes this meeting from me, blah, 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 I promise you I'll beat their ass and blah, blah, blah. These meetings have motherfuckers conditioned. And I see why people feel like it's a cult because of the conditioning that's surrounded in regard to these meetings. You have to listen to wording and stuff like that comes from the big book and comes from individuals that coordinate the meetings and come from these so-called prayers that include God. You just have to listen and use discernment in these situations, because if you're asleep to a lot of different things, you won't see through the surface layers into the depths of the lies that come with a lot of people, places, and things that want to include God, but they're truly not including him. And it disgusts me. And this is God. If God removed me from the church because I was seeing too much at a very, very young age, why wouldn't he remove me? And he didn't have to, because I removed myself from systematic organizations that are using him as a pawn for, I don't want to say popularity, but for, oh my God, just for various different reasons. Just put it that way. But anyway, I felt the need to create 4747 this time of this recording. I talked about this on a couple of occasions, but I felt the need to dive deeper into 12-step, why I don't really fuck with it, and how I see through it all. And like I said, a lot of you may agree to disagree. I wouldn't give a fuck. God, you can't fight God and what he allows his chosen ones to see. And because some of you guys are asleep to it all, doesn't mean that I am. And with that being said, I want to thank the individual at Goodwill, the cashier, along with Regina Wells and other individuals, for keeping me on the straight and narrow and not allowing me to relapse. 48 time of this recording, yesterday, just put it that way. It will soon be Saturday here in Arizona. So before I end this, happy Friday again to each and every last one of you guys out there, especially all of my individuals that are still in the struggle. It can't be up to us all the time in order to help you make it through. You have to want to help your own motherfucking self. You know what I'm saying? Because so many of us put so much effort into other people's causes only to put a pause on what we have going on in regard to our own sobriety. And people are still relapsing. People are still doing the most. And I mean, what was the point of us putting our lives on pause to help y'all when The choice is already in the back of your head. You're going to do what the fuck you want to do. If that's the case, do what you want to do and stand your ass in front of a fucking mirror and mirror work on yourself. Look yourself straight in the eyes and just, oh my God, just like the last meeting that I went to, some of those individuals, which was primarily the gay meeting, some of those individuals started off looking cute, but every time you relapse is every time Satan takes 5 years off of your damn life and you just start looking horrible. And a lot of those people that thought that, let me rephrase, a lot of those people in those meetings, especially the gay ones, thought that they were walking around looking cute. And I seen the devastation and the destruction of that relapse. And who knows how many other relapses they had prior to me going to Wednesday night's meeting. No different than me. Every time that I relapse, I'm pretty sure that I just started looking fucked up. And I seen it firsthand with some of these meetings, some of these people in the meetings, Wednesday night's meeting. Especially one of the individuals that just think that they are just too damn cute. You weren't that damn cute Wednesday. Yeah, I promise you that. And I'm not trying to be funny, but Satan is not playing. When you hit that pipe and go back out there, it's twice worse. It's more worse than what it was the last time that you relapsed, and it's going to continue to be worse until you are no longer breathing. And with that being said, you guys, I am going to end this. Get rest for myself and relax. And until my next upload, thank you guys so much for being fans, downloading, passing the message on, and just allowing my words to give you a different perspective on things, because it's not always about going with the grain. God wants his chosen to go against the grain and ask questions. Look into things. Use discernment. Look past the surface layer of shit. I don't give a fuck if it's your relationship with your own damn family. Look past the surface layers of things and see the truth in it all. Because not everything is filled with truth. And with that being said, y'all have a beautiful, blessed night. And yeah, much love.